Updated November 5, 2017. 160,347 from high stakes to well-done stakes. It says something about the state of the world that the pre-arrival media briefing for Donald Trump's visit to Japan covered possible nuclear war and whether the U.S. president will have ketchup with his beef. Key points: Japan is the first stop on Trump's 12-day Asian trip. Visit will include Wagyu beef and golf with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and world-ranked player Hideki Matsuyama. Discussions between Trump and Abe likely to revolve around trade and North Korea. The focus on North Korea's nuclear ambitions is an obvious one. A Japanese official told reporters the country's famed Wagyu beef will be on the menu today, prompting fears of a culinary gaffe. In May, Mr. Trump shocked the food world by ordering his $71 steak cooked well done and smothering it in tomato sauce. Asked about the prospect of a similar food snob crime against high-end Wagyu, the Japanese Foreign Affairs official implied a subtle dance of manners is at play. "We will prepare ketchup," the official said. "If President Trump wants to use ketchup, we will provide it." After a stopover in Hawaii, Japan is the first stop on Mr. Trump's 12-day Asian trip. Air Force One touched down at the U.S. airbase at Yokota on Sunday just before 100 p.m. AEDT, and Mr. Trump stepped onto the tarmac as a band played Uptown Funk. Mr. Trump and First Lady Melania were welcomed by an enthusiastic crowd and he was presented with a bomber jacket, which he quickly put on after removing his suit coat. Mr. Trump addressed American service personnel, calling Japan a treasured partner and crucial ally and telling his aunts no dictator or regime should ever underestimate American resolve. "We will never yield, never waver and never falter in defense of our freedom," Mr. Trump said. Golf diplomacy. The first thing on Mr. Trump's agenda is a round of golf with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who is riding high after a solid election win 2 weeks ago. At Mr. Trump's request, they will be joined by one of the world's best golfers, Hideki Matsuyama. Golf diplomacy has provided common ground in the past, with Mr. Abe gifting Mr. Trump an expensive gold-colored driver in May, and the U.S. leader giving his Japanese counterpart a golf shirt. Mr. Trump claims a handicap of 2.8, although Golf magazine has questioned that, saying that while Mr. Trump is a surprisingly good player, a 73 round as claimed recently would put him in the league of retired professionals. The U.S. president has denied allegations, including claims from actor Samuel L. Jackson and retired boxer Oscar de la Hoya, that he cheats at golf. Mr. Abe's handicap is unknown, but he is thought to average 90,100 over 18 holes, and is known to hold the flag while others putt, a humble act for a man of great power. The big issues. The conversation on and off the golf course will likely revolve around trade and North Korea, cited by both sides as the main issues for the leaders to discuss. The Obama-era policy of strategic patience has been thrown out the window by Mr. Trump, who has bluntly confronted the paranoid regime and hurled insults at Rocket Man Kim Jong-un. North Korea is reportedly getting close to developing a missile that could hit the west coast of the U.S. and shrinking a nuclear device small enough to go into that missile, raising the threat level from serious to existential. "We want to get it solved. It's a big problem for our country and the world, and we want to get it solved," Mr. Trump told reporters on Air Force One before landing. He said a decision would be made soon on whether to add reclusive North Korea to a list of state sponsors of terrorism. As a near neighbor, Japan has long lived with the prospect of being attacked by North Korea, with Pyongyang firing 2 tested missiles over the nation in recent months. The greatest concern is that Trump may prove to be a wild card in the carry orchestrated and balanced geopolitics of the region, said Annalise Riles, a professor of law and anthropology at Cornell University. Asian politicians and diplomats will surely seize of this occasion to try to educate the president about the subtle ways they effectively manage the North Korean threat. The U.S. president will meet the families of Japanese people abducted by North Korea and forced to teach Japanese. Mr. Trump appears to have taken up the issue with some enthusiasm after Mr. Abe personally explained it to him and asked for his support. Despite their differences, the two leaders appear to get along well, a bond secured over the course of 9 meetings and 16 phone calls. North Korea remains the focus, but the militarization of Japan's self-defense force and the future of trade after the U.S. withdrew from the Trans-Pacific Partnership negotiations are also likely to be on the agenda. One of the things we're going to be very focused on is trade, because trade has not been done well for 25 years by the United States with this part of the world, with any part of the world, Mr. Trump said on Air Force One. We're going to be discussing reciprocal trade. Fair, free but reciprocal. Japan represents something of a soft landing for the U.S. president's foray into Asia, a chance to stretch his legs on the golf course after long flights and warm up his diplomatic skills with a friend. Topics: Donald Trump, world politics, unrest, conflict and war. Japan, United States, Asia. First posted November 5, 2017. 100,831.